Hello, everyone, and thank you for being here for the seminar, Nutrition and Mental Health, Getting to the Root Cause. I'm Nancy Rose. I'm owner and creator of the Get at the Roots programs for weight loss and mental health. I'm a nutritional therapy practitioner, strength and conditioning specialist, healing food specialist, and a GAPS, which stands for Gut and Psychology Syndrome practitioner. And I've been in the fitness and nutrition field for 20 years, and my life has been radically transformed. I'm going to share with you some of that here. I developed along the way a 12-week weight loss program, which is designed to get at the root of your weight problem. So if you have any interest in that, check it out at getattheRootsWeightLoss.com. But today we're going to focus on mental health. And I want to start by sharing with you my story. In 1999, I was diagnosed with depression. I was put on an antidepressant, Celexa, and initially I felt a whole world better. I felt like I noticed the flowers and the world was a brighter and better place. However, it wasn't long before I was feeling terrible, and 9 months later, I attempted suicide. I was then re-diagnosed at that point with bipolar disorder. I was told there's no cure. You will need to be on medication for the rest of your life. I was told that I wouldn't be treated if I wasn't on medication. However, at that point in time, I felt like that wasn't the path that God had for me. Instead, I had faith as a child, and it kind of rose up in me at that moment. In the scripture that I had learned so many times, it said, what's impossible with man is possible with God. Just rose up in my spirit. And I realized that if it was impossible, if there was no cure, there was no real total help for this disease, this mental illness, then I was going to believe that there was. And I chose at that moment in time not to take any medication, but instead I chose to go another route. And I began to pray and ask God for His divine direction. And I began to study nutrition and mental illness. I began to study all of the things that pertain to mental health, and what I learned was astounding. I learned that there are many root issues, just like I had learned before that there was many root issues to weight problems, and that it's important to correct those root issues for long-term success. There are many root issues to mental health problems that are often not addressed in the standard treatment for mental illnesses such as depression and anxiety and mood disorders and schizophrenia. Did you know that you need specific nutrients in order to manufacture your mood-enhancing brain chemistry? So you need to be getting certain nutrients within your body in order to just manufacture those brain chemicals, those feel-good hormones. Stable blood sugar is absolutely essential. It's needed for stable energy and stable mood. If your blood sugar is up, down, and all around, so will your energy and so will your mood be. So you need to learn to eat to stabilize blood sugar. You need to learn how to do things to cause your blood sugar to stabilize. Certain things will cause it to go awry in certain individuals. So identifying food sensitivities, for instance, can have an effect on blood sugar stability. Lacking certain nutrients will make it more difficult for you to stabilize your blood sugar. The health of your digestive system impacts the health of your brain. I think it's more people are becoming aware of the gut-brain connection and how important the health of the digestive system is to that. I suffered from severe constipation since I was a little girl, and I never knew that there was a problem. I never knew that there was anything wrong with it. I would have one bowel movement every 2 weeks, and they were hard rabbit-like pellets. We are supposed to be having a bowel movement 1 to 3 times a day. Probably more like 2 to 3 times a day. we need to be eliminating what we ate the day before 19 to 24 hours later. So what we eat now, we should be eliminating it 19 to 24 hours. I teach you in my book and in this program how to determine what your transit time is and what you need to do to get it in the right frame time. Some people are digesting way too quickly, and so they're really not digesting their food. It's just running through them. So that is just as problematic as constipation. You need a healthy gut microbiome for a healthy brain. You need good bacteria in your intestinal tract in order for it to function properly and for you to be healthy. Food sensitivities can absolutely impact brain chemistry. In fact, two of the foods that I had the most problems with were gluten and casein. And there's a book that came out not too long ago called The Grain Brain. And so many people would benefit greatly by removing grains from their diet. But the two foods, gluten, which is the protein part of wheat, and rye, barley, it's the protein component of some of those grains, can be very detrimental to individuals with mental health problems. It's one of the first things that I will recommend removing from the diet. It can be also an addictive food to individuals that have a problem with it. So I don't always recommend completely removing it immediately, but gradually removing it and then keeping it out. Casein, which is a protein component of milk, is also highly problematic for individuals with mental health issues. And any foods that you have a sensitivity in general can impact the brain. So it's determining what foods that you have a sensitivity to and then eliminating them. And toxicity in the body can impact brain chemistry. In fact, this was my final root issue that I finally uncovered that enabled me to fully get well from mental illness. But had I not searched this out myself, had I listened to the psychologist and the psychiatrist, had I gone that route, I would have been on medication for the rest of my life, probably hospitalized who knows how many times. My quality of life would likely not be that great, and I would just be living with all of these symptoms and issues and not solving the problem, but being on medication that has a whole host of side effects and long-term effects that can be irreversible for certain medications. So with that, in 2015, I knew I wanted to share my story. I knew I wanted to get it out there. I knew I wanted to help as many people as I could to get freed from mental illness and get freed from the torment that I experienced as well. And so in February of 2015, I published my story in a book, No More Loss, Preventing Suicide by Building a Healthy Body, Mind, and Spirit. And in that is the optimal mental health nutrition plan. And it spells it out exactly what you need to do to restore mental health. And it's a 6-month program. You're not going to be cured overnight. It takes time to build health into the body that ultimately affects brain chemistry. So let me just share with you my mission, because if you can understand my mission, then maybe you can share it with somebody else, and maybe that somebody else's life will be changed as a result. My mission is to help those suffering from mental illness by sharing my story, by educating those suffering, and also educating those in the nutrition and mental health professions. And it's also to prevent suicide through education and through round-the-clock prayer. For those of you who are interested in teaming up, if you feel stirring in your spirit right now to team up with this mission in prayer and dedicate a 15-minute time slot each day to praying for the prevention of suicide and for those who are suffering from mental illness and who are deeply depressed, please contact me, Nancy at nomorloss.org. Did you know that every 12.8 minutes, someone in the United States takes their life. Every 30 seconds, someone attempts to take their life. This, you may just, oh, the statistics, it may not affect you all that much. But for those individuals who know someone who has taken their life will never be the same. And I'm certain that they would tell you if there was anything that they could do to prevent that suicide from taking place, they would have done it. So I'm here really to share this information in the hopes of improving the quality of individuals' lives so that they can go on to live a happy life and also to prevent tragedies like this happening. It is a huge problem in our country and in our world. Individuals are suffering greatly every 30 seconds. Someone is attempting to take their life. So I'm here to encourage you to discover your journey to healing from mental illness. Whether you're suffering or whether someone you love is suffering, you can share this information with them. There are root causes to mental illness. And like I said before, they're typically not addressed in the standard treatment for the mentally ill in this country. In fact, I went back to my psychologist and I went to my psychiatrist and I said, I'm doing this and I'm doing this and I feel wonderful and I'm not taking any medication. And I was kind of just turned away. Well, it may work for you, but doesn't mean it's going to work for anybody else. And, you know, I was so excited about it and so happy when you come out of feeling miserable for so long and deeply depressed for extended periods of time, and you come out of that, you're going to be very excited and happy. In fact, I was told by a psychiatrist that I was hypomanic and going into a full-blown mania, and I need to be on this medication to stop it right now and be in another medication longer term. And instead, I said to that psychiatrist, well, okay, I don't believe that's true. I believe I just feel really good. And I'm excited about life because now I feel good. But can I see some information on those medications that you would like to put me on? And her reaction to me was, I can show it to you. I can give you that information, but I highly recommend that you don't read it. Because if you read it, you're not going to want to take it. And I'm the kind of person that says, I'm not just going to take something that the doctor prescribes. I want to know what it's going to do in my body. I'm not going to just blindly go and follow something that could be detrimental to my health. And so of course, I read it, and of course, I didn't take it. And it's about discovering what those root issues are and then correcting them. And that's what's going to bring success. There are 5 components to healing. I'm a nutritional therapist, and a lot of my studies have focused on nutrition, but I've also been always open to everything that impacts mental health, and you can't just pick one thing. That'll only get you so far. So I discovered 5 components to healing. Spiritual healing. And I put that first, and I believe that when you have faith, that can have tremendous impact on your hope and your mental well-being. Emotional healing. Neurological healing. The nervous system needs to be functioning properly. The nerve system communication needs to be functioning properly. Nutritional healing. And physical fitness. All 5 areas need to be addressed and maintained on a regular basis in order for you to obtain true health and freedom from mental illness, but it is absolutely possible. So quickly, my book goes over in detail each of these different components. Spiritual healing, number 1, it talks about 7 steps to building a strong spiritual foundation. As I already mentioned, having faith in something bigger than you can be so helpful in building hope. Those who hope in the Lord shall renew their strength, Isaiah 40:31. Emotional healing. 6 keys to healing from emotional trauma. I go over in the book. It's so very important that these things are addressed because you can do everything that you should be doing in every other area. But if you've experienced some kind of a traumatic event, you were sexually abused, physically abused, you went through some kind of trauma, and you don't address that, you're going to have a hard time fully moving forward because that traumatic event can trigger a pattern of imbalances in brain chemistry and hormones. And that without learning how to heal from the trauma, it's instrumental to your overall success. And so I highly recommend getting help for that area, getting a good qualified counselor, professional that can help you heal in those areas. I believe there's hope for healing. I believe the healing is possible. And with faith in God and with Jesus, we can be healed from all things. But it takes seeking God, and it takes going sometimes to get help in different areas. So I share with you 6 keys to healing from emotional trauma. Neurological healing. The nervous system is your brain and your spinal cord and all the nerves that flow to your organs, to your muscles. In the communication, relaying the messages from the brain to the body and back, it's important that those nerves aren't being impinged upon, that the communication is able to reach where it needs, and communication back and forth is not disrupted. And so I firmly believe that healthy exercise and stretching and maintaining the proper nervous flow and the posture are so vitally important to the nervous system functioning well. And sometimes there's injuries that require a little bit more, possibly physical therapy or chiropractic care in order to get the nervous system functioning properly. But they found that individuals with cervical subluxations are more prone to having issues with depression and mental health problems, and that correcting that can dramatically improve and even relieve depression and anxiety and different issues in some individuals. And so it is important. It's important that the nervous system can function properly. Nutritional healing. In my book, I talk about the Optimal Mental Health Nutrition Plan, which is a 6-month program with 5 phases, which I'm going to go into a little bit more in this seminar. Your brain needs nutrients to thrive. It absolutely needs to be fed nutrients. And physical fitness. Exercise can make or break you when it comes to your mental health. There is a thing called overexercising that can have a negative impact on your mental health. In fact, the health of your adrenal glands, which are your stress glands, someone suffering from mental illness has overtaxed their adrenals, most definitely. Someone with mental illness is under stress, bottom line. And so the more stress that your body's been under over time will have an impact on the adrenal glands. When the adrenal glands are impacted, it's going to make it more difficult for you to recover from your mental health issues. And over-exercising will tax the adrenals. And so we need the right kind of exercise that's going to boost endorphins and actually uplift and improve our mental health. We need to be careful that we are not over-exercising and actually causing detriment. So as I said, there's 5 phases to the Optimal Mental Health Nutrition Plan. I'm going to go over them briefly here. When I talk about building optimal mental health nutritionally, I like to talk about it in comparison to building a house. It is so very important when you're building a house that you lay a proper foundation. It talks about that in the Bible, right? We need a solid foundation. You don't want to build your house on rock and sand. we need a solid foundation, right? If you build your house on sand, what happens? It can easily be washed away, unsettled. So we need a proper foundation. When it comes to nutritional health within the body, you build a healthy foundation by, number one, bringing in the right nutrients, your nutrient supply. That's the foods that you eat need to be full of nutrients and nourishment for your body. We need specific things. We need amino acids from proteins. We need healthy fatty acids, and we need vitamins and minerals from our vegetables and our fruits. We need those things in order to just manufacture our brain chemistry. So we have to have the supply coming in to manufacture the happy, feel-good neurotransmitters. So that's important. That's part of your foundation. Okay, we need stable blood sugar. We already discussed how unstable blood sugar results in unstable energy and unstable mood. Very, very important to the foundation of your mental health. Digestive health. The digestive system is important for physical health, mental health. It's the most important thing because if we are unable to properly digest our foods, then we're not going to be getting the nutrients from the foods that we're eating, no matter what we're eating. Okay, we could be eating healthy food, but if our digestive system is not functioning properly to be able to break that food down and get the nutrients from it, then we're at a disadvantage and we're not going to be feeding our cells. So the digestive system is where we break the nutrients down into small particles. They get absorbed through the digestive intestinal tract lining into the bloodstream, and they're ushered throughout the body, including the brain. So this is how you supply your body with food, with nutrition, is through the digestive tract. Absolutely vital to your mental health. Hydration. Our cells need to be hydrated. Water is what ushers the nutrients throughout the body. It also helps to cleanse and detox the body. So we need to be adequately hydrated in order to get those nutrients and hormones transported throughout the body. And sleep. Sleep is vital. And most of you probably know if your sleep suffers, it then impacts your day and your ability to handle stress, and you may be more irritable and agitated and all of these things. So most of us know that sleep does impact our mental health. And so that is a foundation as well. And then you'll see the floor is laid. So we need to build the foundation first. So just like building a building, you don't go and start putting up the walls and the roof before you lay the foundation. You lay the proper foundation, and then you put the floor on and the walls and the roof, right? So the next step would be putting the floor down. And we do that with a healthy liver when it comes to mental health. The liver is responsible for detoxing the body, and it has a whole host, many different, 500 different functions within the body. The liver is very, very important for health. Okay, so we need to make sure that the liver is functioning well. So we're able to detox, we're able to it's also responsible for helping to produce cholesterol, which we often give a bad rap, but cholesterol is needed to manufacture hormones. So if the liver is overburdened with toxins and overburdened with its roles, it can't do everything else perfectly and effectively. So we need it to be healthy in order to do everything it needs to do well. And with that, we put up the walls. And the walls are hormone balance. We set the stage because the liver needs to be healthy in order to produce the cholesterol to manufacture hormones. We need to be able to detox, and we need to detox excess hormones also, which can throw our hormone balance off. So we need a healthy liver so that we can properly detox and we can be able to manufacture our hormones and have balance there. And then we go ahead and put the roof on with additional nutrient support when needed. Some individuals will get through, put up the healthy walls, and they are doing well. They're getting all the nutrients they need from the foods that they're eating and their digestive system's functioning properly, and they don't need to take any additional nutrient support in order to feel optimally mentally well. And others will need some additional nutrient support. And that really comes down to the health of your body when you were born. And how I like to call it the bank of nutrients. The more nutrition and the healthier you are when you're born, your bank of nutrients is higher. And once you drop below that symptom line, you start to feel unwell physically, mentally. And so some individuals may need a little additional support in building their bank because they started so low when they were born. And others won't need as much. And so it varies. There are 5 phases to the optimal mental health nutrition plan in order to build mental health nutritionally. As we just spelled out, we go through all of these steps. Phase 1, step 1 is introducing the base dietary plan, stabilizing blood sugar, and removing food allergens. Key component. And that's step 1. Step 2, you work on digestive health, and step 3 is hydration. All in phase 1, intended to be 4 weeks, but that little plus there is there for individuals who have a lot of sweets and sugars and gluten and casein and different things that need to be slowly reduced as opposed to abruptly taken out. So you'll slowly reduce them based on where your diet is when you start. And I help you figure all that out with this program. So it's a minimum of 4 weeks that you're on that before you're ready to go to phase 2. And phase 2 is establishing a healthy gut microbiome. That's good, healthy bacteria within the digestive tract. And then step 2 of that is sleep. So you're going to work on both those things at the same time, the microbiome and the sleep. And that's an additional 4 weeks. And that will vary also in its time based on different individuals will have different time frames of introducing the good bacteria based on their symptoms. So you want to introduce this slowly so you can minimize the detox response. It's very important that you don't detox too fast when you're trying to improve your mental health. I'm about doing things in a slow and gentle manner. Because if you detox too fast, some symptoms of detox are all kinds of mental health problems, such as anxiety, depression, irritability, things we want to avoid. It's necessary to detox the body for the overall mental health, but we want to do it in a gentle manner. So this is where introducing the good bacteria might be longer than 4 weeks till we get to where we want to maintain a certain intake of good, healthy bacteria, where you're not having any detox response. Phase 3 is establishing a healthy liver, and that could be 4 more weeks based on the health of your liver when you start, and when you start to show or not show symptoms of problems. So when you get to that point, phase 4 is hormonal balance as well as detoxification. You work on hormone balance first and then detoxification, and that's 8 weeks. And so overall, and then there's the additional nutrient support when needed. Overall, we've got a 6-month program here or longer. So with that, I'm offering the 4-part series, my 4-part series, which is 4 1.5-hour sessions detailing the 5 phases of the optimal mental health nutrition plan. With that, you'll receive a copy of the No More Lost book and a food journal. This is really for anyone looking to obtain optimal mental health, anyone who has a loved one who suffers from mental health issues, mental health professionals, therapists, counselors, psychologists, so they can learn and be educated about the importance of nutrition on mental health so they can better help their patients. This is so very important. So this really is for mental health professionals. And it's also for nutrition professionals. So they can be aware of how nutrition impacts mental health, and they can share this information with their clients who may be suffering. So how it goes is it's 4 1.5-hour presentations, sessions with me. Session 1 is going to cover the base dietary plan, digestion, and hydration. Obviously, just briefly went over, very briefly, just quickly went through some of the stuff, but this is going to go in depth into these different areas. Session 2 is the microbiome and sleep. Session 3 is liver health and hormones. And Session 4 is detoxification and additional nutrient support. So with that, I'm offering a special right now, regularly priced $149, but with this seminar special, you can get this 4-part series for only $99. And begin your journey to mental health today. Thank you for attending this seminar. I look forward to hearing from you. To contact me, please go to nomoreloss.org. You can email me at nancy@nomoreloss.org, or you can simply sign up for the 4-part series and we'll get started on your journey, and you'll receive your book in the mail. Once you sign up and make your $50 deposit, you will receive your book. Prior to the class, you will make the second payment, and we'll get started. And I so look forward to working with you, and please share this information with anyone that you know that may be interested or in need of it. And my prayer is that this would reach those who need it, and that this information would help those. For those of you who are not interested in the series but really would like the book, you can also purchase the book and read that, and maybe want to come back to the 4-part series later if you so choose. But this really is my mission and my calling to help those who are suffering. So may God's blessing be upon you, and may He lead you to health and healing physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, in every aspect. And we thank you. We thank you, Lord, for that. In Jesus' name, amen. Have a good night.